Okay, so for this video, I'm going to be going over some examples for how you can complete the Unit 5 Review 1B portion of your review. So follow along. Again, not all of the answers are going to be exactly the same as what you should have. A lot of the numbers have been changed. You can just use this as a guide and for helpful methods of ways to solve the problems. So first, looking at the graphs here, you're going to select whether each graph is proportional or non-proportional. I'm not going to go super in-depth with this, but just remember proportional graphs have to start at the origin and they have to be a straight line. They have to have both of those. If it's not both of those, it's non-proportional. Next, we're going to look at this tables section. So in this table, what you want to do is in the far right column where it says constant of proportionality, you're going to do y divided by x. So here I did 0 divided by 0. 5 over 1, 10 over 2, 15 over 3. Once I had my fractions, I simplified them using division and got a constant of proportionality of 5 for the whole table. The first question says, does this table start at the origin? Well, the origin is the coordinate 0, 0. If you look up here, 0 does correspond with 0, so we would say yes. Does this table have a constant of proportionality? Yes, that constant of proportionality was 5. Is this table proportional? Yes, because it starts at the origin and it has a constant of proportionality. So then for this one, does this table start at the origin? Yes or no? This starts at the coordinate 0, 1, so that would be no, because the origin is 0, 0. Does this table have a constant of proportionality? No, because when you do y divided by x for all of these, you do not get the same number every single time. So is this table proportional? No, it is not. All right, next, circle the situation that describes a proportional relationship. Remember, a proportional relationship is something that is occurring at a constant rate. If there is a starting value or a base value, then a constant rate, it is not proportional. It has to be just a constant rate. So for this one, the Charleston County Fair charges $3 per ride. That is a constant rate of $3 per ride. The question that says, or the statement that says, the Berkeley County Fair charges $5 to enter, then $2 per ride, that is not proportional because that $5 entrance fee is going to make the whole rest of the situation non-proportional. Next, for equations, circle the equations that represent proportional relationships. So the first one, remember, it cannot have a plus or minus. It has to be a multiplicative relationship. So it's not A. And for the same reason, it's not B. Okay, C is a proportional relationship because your output is just 9 times your input, or it's a multiplicative relationship. D, this is the one that trips people up a lot. D is a proportional relationship because even though it says x over 5, we could also think of that like 1/5 times x. So x is being multiplied by the same number every time, so that is proportional. And then lastly, this is a proportional relationship again. It's in the same form as C, so we know that it's proportional, and the only difference is it's a decimal. So C, D, and E would be proportional relationships. All right, next we have a graph here, okay? Question 1 says the constant of proportionality in the graph is blank. Remember, to find constant of proportionality in a graph, you will pick a point on the line, and you're going to do y divided by x. So in this case, it's 15 divided by 10. So 15 over 10 would simplify to 3 over 2, or you could just do 3 divided by 2 or 15 divided by 10. Either way, these are all equivalent values that are equivalent to 1.5. Okay, and then the unit rate, that 1.5 is referring to 1.5 heartbeats per 1 minute, or sorry, per 1 second. So you would write it in a sentence. Next, the table below displays the distance that Emma walks over a period of time. The question says, use the information given to determine the constant of proportionality. Well, the information that was originally given was the ratio 5 and 2. We can calculate the constant of proportionality by doing y divided by x. So I did 2 divided by 5. That gave me a constant of proportionality of 0.4, or it could also be written as 2/5. Then you should use the constant of proportionality to fill in the rest of the table. So once I had that constant of proportionality, I multiplied every single x value by it to get the y value. Finally, I'm going to say what the constant of proportionality means in regards to the unit rate. The constant of proportionality represents that Emma walks 0.4 miles per hour. That's because if I had 1 in my hours column and multiplied it by 0.4, my output or my distance or my y column would be 0.4. So 0.4 miles per 1 hour. All right, next, write an equation to match this situation. So James spent $65, that's the total cost, represented by C, on 4 video games. The number of video games will be represented by the variable G. So for this type of problem, I want you to find the unit rate. So here I took $65 and divided it by 4 games to get a cost of $16.25 per game. We've calculated our constant of proportionality or unit rate, then we can use that to write our equation. Okay, I know that the total cost is going to be equal to $16.25 times the number of games. So the equation would be C equals 16.25 G. Next, we're going to write an equation 2 ways. So this says that Bella spent 3 hours, represented by the variable H, making 1 batch of cookies, represented by the variable B. So the first equation could be H equals 3 times B, because the number of hours, which is 3, is equivalent to 3 times the number of batches, right? Hours equals 3 times the number of batches. Now, if we were to flip the variables, we would also make the constant of proportionality its reciprocal, okay? And this also makes sense. The number of batches equals 1/3 the number of hours. 1 is 1/3 of 3. Okay, so a quick trick, just so you know, is if you switch the order of the variables, the constant of proportionality will become its reciprocal. All right, this one. So you might want to use the one that's given on the left as an example to help you. It says, write a situation that matches this equation. Do not use the constant of proportionality in the written situation. Basically, that's just saying we're not going to use 2.5. We have to use a different pair of numbers. Use another set of numbers that would hold true for this equation. See the written situation in the equation section as a guide. Okay, so this situation is saying that the total cost of something is going to be equal to 2.5 or $2.50 times X, which is the number of candy bars purchased. So we're talking about buying candy bars here. So basically, I just need to write a sentence in which the total cost is equal to 2.5 times the number of candy bars purchased. So I said Emma is going to purchase 5 candy bars. Well, if 5 is the number of candy bars, I need to make sure the total cost is 2.5 times 5, which is $12.50. So my sentence is Emma purchased 5 candy bars for $12.50. Okay, $12.50 divided by 5 is $2.50. So the equation would be y equals 2.5x. So you're just using your equation to write a situation with different numbers that would hold true for that equation. Okay, for the last page, we're going to first look at the graphing and writing an equation. So here we've been given a graph. The colors aren't showing up super well, but I can just kind of point to what we did for each one. First says the blue dot is located at the point 2, 30. This is the blue dot that I'm pointing at. X is 2, Y is 30. Make sure that X comes first in the coordinate, then Y. Okay, the meaning of this coordinate is that Miguel, I got that from the title, his savings amount, that's from the y-axis, is $30. So he saves $30, which corresponds to 2 months. So Miguel saves $30 in 2 months. The pink dot is located at the coordinate 1, 15. That means that Miguel saves $15 in 1 month. The green dot is located at the point 4, 60. Okay, so that means that Miguel saves $60 in 4 months. Next, the constant of proportionality here is 15, and the unit rate is $15 per month. Because remember, constant of proportionality is the same as unit rate. The unit rate is going to be per month. I know that it's $15 per month, or if for any of these points you do y divided by x, you would still get 15. Therefore, the equation is going to be y equals 15x. All right, next, this table shows various amounts of a fruit punch recipe. First, it's asking what is the constant of proportionality. So all you need to do for that is do y divided by x. I chose to use the first ratio, which is 2 divided by 7. That can be written as a fraction of 2/7, Or if we did that in a calculator for our decimal, we would get about 0.28571. Then it's asking, what is the unit rate? So the unit rate is going to be 2/7 cups of peach juice per 1 cup of grape juice. That's because if I put 1 in the x column, my peach juice would be 2/7. So for every 1 cup of grape juice, it's 2/7 cup of peach juice. Therefore, the equation is y is equal to 2/7 times x, because my y value is equivalent to 2/7 times my x value every single time. All right, last two. Writing an equation. A grocery store charges 50 cents per donut. Which equation can be used to find C, the total cost in dollars, to buy D, the number of donuts? Okay, so it's really just filling in the blank. You don't even really have to do much math for this. You just need to take the information from the problem. So we know that the total cost of however many donuts you buy is going to be 50 cents times the number of donuts that you buy. If we were to write that with our variables, it would be C equals 0.5 D. The last question says, Harrison pays $20 per t-shirt at a local clothing store. The equation shown could be used to calculate the total cost of his purchases. What does X represent in the equation? So here we see Y is going to be the total cost. The total cost is equal to 20 times something. Well, it says it's $20 per t-shirt. So X is going to be the number of t-shirts purchased. I hope that was helpful. You can always go back and rewatch, pause, rewind, whatever you need in order to help you. Let me know if you have any questions.